meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Today, we will have hearings from the following departments. So we're starting off with the mayor's office. Colleagues, you can find that information in your budget book starting at page 101. Then we will have a hearing from MTA WeGo. That will be on page 357. Followed by NDOT on page 346. As a reminder, the hearings are starting, and if a particular hearing starts early, we will immediately go into the next hearing. So I anticipate that happening today. And with that, we are going to turn it over to the mayor's office. If you could introduce yourself, you are recognized, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Marjorie Pomeroy Wallace, Chief of Staff for Mayor Freddie O'Connell, and I apologize for the atrocious volume. Madam Chair, members of the Budget and Finance Committee and esteemed members of the Metro Council, it's my pleasure to present an overview of Mayor O'Connell's recommended fiscal year 2026 budget for the mayor's office. This year's budget looks a little different than previous years because it's the first year to reflect the voter-approved Choose How You Move program. A reminder, we're going to say that a lot, so we call that CHIME. Specifically, it will include the team that will lead its implementation. It also reflects the new Office of Youth Safety, an Office of Violence Prevention and Reduction, and a new housing coordinator that were part of our fiscal year 2025 budget, but will be implemented immediately, and other strategic roles to continue implementing how Nashville moves, works, grows, and now helps. So let's dive in. An initial team of 6 people led by the Chief Program Officer is recommended to implement the voter-approved Choose How You Move Transportation Improvement Program. These positions are all supported by the dedicated revenue fund for Choose How You Move, and our acting program director will go into more detail on the CHIME component of the budget in just a few moments. This budget transfers the Office of Youth Safety funding to the mayor's office for its first full year of operation. Following advocacy from young people in Nashville, funding for the office was established by this council in the fiscal year 2025 operating budget. The development of this office has been a collaborative effort between the mayor's office, Metro Council member Delisha Porterfield, juvenile court clerk Lonell Matthews, advocates from SMC, and we're excited to welcome our new director, Phyllis Hildreth, to move work forward that was outlined in Mayor O'Connell's Executive Order 53. That work will be supported by a new role in the mayor's office for the Director of Office of Violence Prevention and Reduction. This position will work alongside Phyllis in the Office of Youth Safety and with our Director of Community Engagement to advance initiatives and conversations around efforts to proactively reduce crime and address the impacts of crime in our Nashville community. On the heels of the Unified Housing Strategy, a housing manager in the mayor's office will work alongside our housing division in the Department of Planning to oversee coordination across departments and public and private sectors as we take on the considerable challenge of housing affordability in Nashville. The UHS gives us a comprehensive roadmap designed to address Nashville's housing challenges with a clear, coordinated, and community-driven approach. This position will help align that strategy and work across various departments, agencies, and the public and private sectors as a part of the strategic work identified through the Imagine Nashville study. Imagine Nashville, the largest community listening project in the city history, unearthed some truly remarkable findings. According to their survey partner, who's done more similar studies in more than 100 communities, Nashville has the highest scores they'd ever seen for belonging. We want to acknowledge that, take that knowledge and move it forward, working with our philanthropic partners at the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, an Imagine Nashville project manager in our Office of Civic and Community Engagement. We'll be charged with taking what we've learned from Imagine Nashville and moving it into a reality. We know a priority identified in the Imagine Nashville work is continuing to develop a workforce so our residents can achieve the lives that they want. A workforce development coordinator will lead our efforts to open up access to training and career opportunities for more of our residents, especially in emerging industries, so that our workers are in the best position to find good paying work and our city is best positioned to meet the needs of growing businesses today and in the future. A year after policy-driven conversation with the entire city, it was clear to Mayor O'Connell that his office needs both the administrative and managerial role of a chief of staff, as well as a chief strategy officer that leverages data and relationships for problem solving and strategic project implementation that might not fit clearly into a single department or neatly into a single department or domain. I think previous administrations have had similar models, a chief of staff, a chief of operations, a chief strategy as distinct roles. Metro encapsulates 55 different departments and offices, and they look to the mayor's office for decision-making and guidance. The budget includes a deputy chief of operations to support our chief operations officer in working with and across Metro departments, as well as we collaborate to deliver efficient, reliable core services and excellent customer service for all of our residents. Pardon me. And finally, the budget makes investments in tools to support this critical work. Long overdue and right-sized investments in funding for communications, software, technical support, technology, strategic planning assistance, and it considers increased costs for business operations. So with that overview, I'll say it again, this year's budget feels different, but I think it feels different in a good way. For the first time, it includes the team that will bring Choose How You Move the program to life. It will invest in strategic roles that help us keep moving forward. Together, these additions support our shared vision of how Nashville works, how Nashville moves, works, grows, and helps. And now I'd like to ask Kendra Abkowitz, our acting program director for Choose How You Move, or CHIME, to walk us through some more details of the FY26 CHIME operating budget.
Thank you, Marjorie. Good afternoon, Chair Porterfield and council members. As Marjorie mentioned, my name is Kendra Abkowitz, and I'm currently serving in an acting role overseeing the Choose How You Move program. And so I'm here excited to share with you more information about how we intend to deliver this program and really incorporate it into the proposed FY26 operating budget. Before I dive into those specifics, however, I want to share a brief reminder of how we got here. Throughout calendar year 2024, the mayor's office, multiple Metro departments, many of you, and many community partners conducted extensive outreach and education on a proposed transportation improvement program, one that was informed by decades of prior planning and outreach efforts at the countywide neighborhood and corridor scale, and one that placed an emphasis on 4 core areas: sidewalk signal, safety, and service. In November 2024, 66% of Nashvillians approved the CHIME Transportation Improvement Program and a dedicated half-penny surcharge to help fund the program. Approval of this program, and we thank all you council members for their critical part in moving this forward, becomes an important mechanism for us to lower the cost of living and increase quality of life for our residents. Since passing the referendum, we've taken important steps to stand up necessary operations and infrastructure to oversee Metro's largest investment in infrastructure ever. In November, we announced 3 initial actions towards implementation: the intention to pursue hiring a chief program officer, the intention to release a program management RFP, and the intention to establish an advisory committee to help guide program delivery. In December, the Mayor's Office, Metro Procurement, and WeGo Procurement hosted our first supplier information session, issued the RFP for a program manager, and posted the Choose How You Move Chief Program Officer position. In January, Mayor O'Connell issued Executive Order 54, officially creating the Advisory Committee on Transportation to ensure community feedback is an essential component of Choose How You Move implementation. February marked the official implementation date of the half-penny surcharge. In March, we hosted additional supplier information sessions, introduced and received Metro Council's approval, thank you again, for a $59 million supplemental budget for our first 11 Choose How You Move projects, presented updates to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and began highlighting Choose How You Move projects in our local investments, local progress video series. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at them, check them out, and you can learn more about the need for a new WeGo maintenance and operations facility, a Sobro Transit Center, and the benefits of queue jump lanes. In March, Council also elected 5 of our Choose How You Move Advisory Committee members. April brought several more additional important milestones. We received our first revenues from the Choose How You Move surcharge. We announced Sabrina Sussman as our new Chief Program Officer. The mayor appointed 9 additional members to the Choose How You Move Advisory Committee, Additional supplier information sessions were hosted, and we concluded the evaluation process for our procurement of a vendor to serve as Choose How You Move program manager. We are excited to begin working through negotiations with HNTB as a critical partner in implementation. And here we are now. This month, we bring to you our first operating budget with Choose How You Move specific investments, and we'll detail some of those in just a moment. Earlier this week, on Tuesday, the Jefferson Street Advisory Committee kicked off its work to help guide the Jefferson Street Corridor Study, a critical project identified in Choose How You Move. The study will shepherd funding that is dedicated to improvements to Jefferson Street between Rosa Parks Boulevard and Ed Temple Boulevard and 28th Avenue North. And in June, looking forward, we will actually host our first Choose How You Move advisory board meeting. In short, we've been busy. And so in order to continue this momentum, we've requested funding to support Choose How You Move in this year's operating budget. Funding requests are distributed across multiple implementing departments, including WEGO, who you'll hear from next, ITS, Law, Planning, NDOT, MNPD, and the Mayor's Office, with a focus on funding expanding operational activities included in the Choose How You Move program and building financial and human resource capacity to support Choose How You Move implementation within departments delivering programs and services. Here are a few key highlights that you'll see included in proposed departmental budgets. WEGO service enhancements will include expanded Sunday service span, improvements to midday and evening frequency for fixed routes, the addition of 3 WEGO link zones, adding Saturday and Sunday service for WEGO Access, and the low-income fare program. You'll also hear about new positions in ITS for network design, network security, communications infrastructure, and project management necessary to support Choose How You Move projects. And then there's funding for transit system safety and security measures, including increases to contracted security coverage, development of a security plan, facility upgrades, a transit ambassador program, and additional MNPD presence, including establishing a transit policing unit. There are also new positions in planning to support corridor and transit center planning, and new positions and resources within NDOT and WEGO to manage design, planning, and construction management of Choose How You Move capital projects. As part of building capacity to deliver the Choose How You Move program, we've requested funding for a Choose How You Move program management office within the Mayor's Office, which serves a critical central coordination and oversight role for the program, ensuring transparent, efficient, and effective implementation. We've never delivered on a program of this scale or complexity before, and doing so will require collaboration across departments and new ways of doing things. The program management office will shepherd this work. High-level core functions held by this office include developing and coordinating Choose How You Move delivery across multiple participating departments. This includes activities such as creating inter and intra-agency agreements and policy, establishing organizational responsibilities, launching chartering processes, overseeing project sequencing, and creating stage gate structures, guidelines, and templates, to name a few things. It also includes establishing critical program management functions like prioritizing and approving disbursement of financial resources for the program. It also includes coordination of engagement with state and federal partners, elected officials, including yourselves, and external stakeholders, including reporting out on the progress of implementing this work. Oversight and management of the Choose How You Move program management consultant is also a part of this budget, which will serve as a critical capacity building function to successfully execute program implementation. In FY26, as Marjorie mentioned, the program management office team will be comprised of 6 FTEs. That includes a chief program officer, who I mentioned before, Sabrina Sussman. Many of you have also probably heard that Michael Briggs is returning to Metro Nashville as our deputy chief program officer. It also includes a communications director, a finance manager, an administrative assistant, and a flex position so that we can adjust the needs of the program management office as we begin implementation. Total personnel expenses in FY26 are just over $1.2 million. We've also included other and non-personnel expenses in FY26 for the Choose How You Move program management office at just over $2.4 million. This funding will allow us to partner with HNTB, as I mentioned before, and this creates capacity for managing the work of the program management offices and departments throughout the delivery of Choose How You Move. It also ensures that Choose How You Move is leveraging best practices deployed in other communities to plan, design, and execute major transportation infrastructure projects. Because the Program Management Office has a relatively small number of FTEs, a vendor partner really helps us create flexibility to leverage additional program management, communications, financial, engineering, technical, and construction management expertise as Choose How You Move needs evolve over time. We've also requested funding to support travel, hardware, software, office space, subscriptions, printing, and communications assets for FTEs included in the program. I really want to emphasize that this Program Management Office in the FY26 budget is a necessary component of Choose How You Move program delivery. Absent a central decision-making and program management structure, the city runs the risk of inefficiencies or uncoordinated work across the city, which could lead to project implementation delays, cost overruns, and unnecessary disruptions to our residents. I think that concludes our prepared remarks, but I think we're also happy to take questions.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate everything that you all do and for outlining the vision for the next year. And thank you for your time in the presentation, and thank you for struggling through that presentation. Colleagues, again, your budget book, the mayor's office starts at page 101. You do have a printed copy of the questionnaire as well as a copy of the budget request. That's the one that looks like this, that's blue. And if it has the word mayor beside it, that means that it was funded in the mayor's proposed budget. If it has the word submitted, that means that it was submitted but not funded. So we are going to take questions. I'll start off and then I'll turn it over to our colleagues. For the Choose How You Move, can you remind us, I feel like we heard this already, but can you remind us when we plan to implement the low fare, the free fare for individuals with low income?
Absolutely. Chair Porterfield, that's a great question. We've already begun work with WeGo on that particular program. To date, we've actually held one workshop with social service agencies and partners to help us define eligibility criteria. We have 2 more workshops planned as part of the program design aspect of this work. So we'll be meeting with several external partners to get their feedback on program design. Then we'll meet again with administrative and operational partners. And we hope to be able to launch that program later this fall.
Thank you so very much. Vice Chair, would you like to be recognized? All right, we'll start off with Vice Chair Toombs.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for coming today to present to the council. I do want to express appreciation to the mayor's office for staffing at a level that is needed to be effective. I know prior administrations have tried to be lean because the thought was that that made them look better to the public, that they were being lean and operating on meager resources, and for you to staff up and actually so that we can actually get some services. Basically, I do appreciate that. For the Choose How You Move, and you may have explained it and I just didn't catch it, because when I think about Choose How You Move, I think, of the sales tax upcharge that we're getting in the funds from that. So why wouldn't this 3.3 million come from those funds? Why is it coming out of operating funds?
So the $3.3 million is actually coming directly from those sales tax revenues, but we are still including them in the operating budget because they're operating expenditures. So it's a different revenue source that would inform the budget.
So is that the special purpose fund? Is that those sales tax funds coming in? Okay. That's all I have, Chair.
And for the purpose of the viewing audience, was that a yes to the last question? Okay, yes. Great, thanks. I saw some head nods, but I just want to make sure that we get it on the record. Councilmember Bradford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Couple questions. As it's been pretty customary so far this week, my first one is going to be about the budget adjustment savings from this year going into next year. You've got 90,000 that's in here that you're getting back from your targeted savings. What would be the impact if you did not get that 90,000 back?
I mean, I said last year, and I wanted to respond, I told you all I would do more with less, that I would hire more people and do as much work as we possibly could with the budget that we had. But I will say that savings cost us the ability to hire the right people, get the people. We couldn't afford the people that we needed or wanted. To not have that funding back will limit our ability to fund one or more of these positions. It's just held us back.
Okay, so for clarification, you've held off on hiring.
We didn't hold off. We tried a lot of hiring, and I got a lot of people telling me they could make more money elsewhere
Okay.
that met our requirements.
Okay, and looking at the at a glance page, there's 3.6 million for Choose How You Move. My question on that one is, why is that showing up in the mayor's office and not being split between like NDOT and WEGO if it's transit oriented?
The way we are designing administration of the program, at least in the initial years of Choose How You Move implementation, because it is a program that involves delivery on behalf of multiple different agencies, it is very important in the early days of establishing governance and structure that we have one centralized entity that has oversight and really a clear view of all the different activities that are occurring in different departments to support Choose How You Move implementation. And so the funding that you see within the mayor's office budget is for that program management office, that centralized entity. There are additional Choose How You Move resources that you'll hear about distributed throughout NDOT, WEGO, ITS, planning, MNPD, and various other departments who are supporting implementation. So this is one piece of several.
Do you ever see a point down the road where this position moves out of the mayor's office and is pretty much, you're basically saying that this kind of helped get everything started. Do you see a point where this moves out of the mayor's office out into the actual departments that will be in charge of it?
I think it's a great question. At this point, we're really focused on standing up the program and delivering results to the community. We are very focused also on ensuring that the program gets to live on well into the future. This is a 15-year program, and that will far outlast any one administration. And so institutionalization is important, but we're not prepared to make that decision today because we're still standing up the program.
Okay. Last one, Chair. The 4 additional FTEs, it's stated as initiatives to improve departmental efficiency. Can you just explain what these 4 FTEs will be doing and explain why hiring more people makes the department more efficient?
So I apologize if what I gave you earlier wasn't clear on that. The 4 FTEs are 1, 2, I want to do these in order that I had them last time. An Imagine Nashville project manager to help us as we start to take the partnership between the mayor's office and the next phase of Imagine Nashville in partnership with Community Foundation. They're going to be, and they're rolling it out. So we're going to be developing community engagement points around each of the pillars. And we need a team member on our team to help coordinate that work. It's going to be a lot of cross collaboration, and we just need a traffic cop in the office. The second position is the workforce development person. We have a team of 1 person who is doing that work currently on behalf of a city our size. We can't respond to every request that we get now. We also can't rely on external partners to do all of that work. The position that the mayor identified as the chief strategy officer is one that would complement the position that I hold. It will take on the projects that don't really neatly fall into a department. There are a lot of things that we do, a lot of problems that come to the mayor's office. We've seen over the last few weeks, problems that come to the mayor's office that don't really have a home, that require management of relationships and the opportunity to take new projects as they come in. That position he has identified as a problem solver and an innovation person. And then the last position is one to assist our 1-person Department of Operations who works with the 55 department heads across the city. It's a lot for 1 person to manage. You can imagine, you see Kristen Wilson here often. If you could see her calendar, meeting all day long. She just needs some relief and some assistance in order to better coordinate through the departments.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
You're very welcome. Sorry.
That's all I've got, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Councilmember Bradford. Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask a couple short questions on the Office of Violence Prevention. So that I still have in my head John Button. Is this like the John Button plus like some of the other work that ended up going to health, kind of overseeing all of that?
I think it is. I think we tried following the national best practices to move that money and that funding and that team there. And it has become everything that has happened since we made that transition. I think it's become obvious that we need, much like we need someone coordinating the mayor's office on behalf of Chime, we need someone coordinating that work. So yes, I think if that's a shorthand that helps you to understand a John Button, yes. I think that having someone to help us do that work in partnership, and you will notice in our org chart that it sits parallel to the Office of Youth Safety as a partner.
Thank you. Yeah, John's forever going to live in my head as that person. I may call the new person John. So we'll see.
New John Button, that's okay. I'll change the title.
And then on the, I was just curious if there had been any discussion about, because I don't see it represented in here, but maybe I just don't know, on Hub Nashville, like the technical side of Hub Nashville, like any kind of investments because of the Salesforce platform to kind of continue to evolve that tool.
So in the mayor's office, we only have the one, I apologize, we only have the one staff member who does that work. The rest of that budget sits in the ITS department.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I needed.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilmember Evans. And for the purposes of the viewing audience, this position is not being filled by John Bunton. This is a position that John Bunton used to hold. Originated. So this is a new position, but that is not the person that is being hired. So I don't want to get calls and texts about that later, asking questions. So I want to clarify.
I'm certain he'd appreciate the shout out.
Yes. Thank you for your work, Mr. Bunton. We appreciate you. Council Lady Ellis, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sorry, I got lost in the Button, thinking of Benjamin Button. As I would assume all the work that you've done. I did want to acknowledge, though, Marjorie, thank you on behalf of the constituents of District 29 for everything that you've done behind the scenes to make the mayor's office work on behalf of the people. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that acknowledgement, but I will tell you there's a great group of people downstairs who work really, really hard every day to do that work.
Awesome. And so my question, so I'm trying to understand the difference or the need for like what work exactly, or in broad terms more so, not getting into the weeds, that the HNTB consulting group would be doing in comparison to the 5 new positions.
So the work that the HNTB group would be doing is at the outset really helping us establish a lot of the initial documentation and programmatic structure that we need. One way I can respond to this is to share with you what our short-term program management vendor, HDR, has been doing. They've been helping to draft MOAs and interdepartmental agreements. They've been helping create sequencing processes, helping us develop financial models to help us with implementation and understand how cash flow will and won't allow us to execute projects. They'll be helping us develop program management plans for the entire program, and then for individual programs that may be managed within departments, for example, program management plans for the sidewalks aspect of Choose How You Move, but then also individual project management plans and templates and structures that will be consistent across the entire program so that we're managing all of our individual projects across 15 years, $3.1 billion of capital expenditures in a consistent way. They'll also be helping us develop a performance management structure, develop some guidelines for a lot of our program implementation, work on a communications and engagement strategy, a branding strategy, a community ambassador program, really adding some additional capacity and bench strength to the 6 FTEs that will be in the program management office. I can't emphasize enough that, especially after being a team of one, essentially in the mayor's office, but then also working with a core team of really wonderful people in our departments that are also contributing to Choose How You Move delivery. This is an incredibly large program, and we need additional resources to do that. And so HNTB, as a vendor partner, can draw from expertise across their agency that operates in many different cities across the country to, again, pull in those best practices and advise us on how we stand up that program. Once the program stood up, they then enter in and serve in a critical program management and project management role. And so, again, just given the magnitude and scale of this program, having additional support from a vendor partner is really necessary.
Thank you. And just to follow up, and I'm not sure if you have a direct answer, but so who would hold sort of the prioritization of getting Chimey implemented?
So today, that is a process that we are proposing to be held by the steering committee, but informed by the Transit Advisory Committee. So it will absolutely be a community-informed process. And then ultimate determination will be made by the steering committee and recommended to the mayor, and then the mayor will be able to approve that. So it's a very collaborative process. It's got a lot of financial aspects. It's got a lot of sort of permitting and approval aspects. It's got a lot of labor availability aspects. It's got a lot of logical sequencing. For example, we can't create new crosstown routes for service if we haven't established a transit center to connect those routes. So some of this is looking at logical sequencing of projects. It's also looking at minimizing disruption within a given area of the county. So we probably would not want to consider undertaking 2 all-access corridors within the same kind of quadrant of the city at the same time, because that would be really disruptive to residents. Equity is a huge component of that as well. And then wanting to make sure that we're touching every council district is a huge impact as well. And so we're still developing all of the different criteria that will influence project selection. And that's a discussion that we'll start with our advisory committee on June 2nd.
Thank you, Council Lady Ellis. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, thank you all so much for your presentation today. And thank you again for all the work that you all do for our city. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go into our We Go MTA. On page 357 of your budget book, you also have the printout